Welcome to Binge Buddies. Be your host always, Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, Matt Zombie Dog. Dykes.
Yep. Yeah, there's a wrap up.
It's a very slow, long pause.
I can see the cogs going and the other going. Wait,
should I come up
it's
with
a
a
wrap
nickname
up.
on the
There's
top
no
of my head?
nicknames.
No, okay.
We have this tradition, no nickname wrap up.
But I always forget to say Zombie Dog, and I remembered this time, so it's like it threw me off my game. So we also have Joel DeWitte and Ryan Lootens. I'll just rattle right through those.
We got a lot to discuss today.
We do. We have a whole bunch. With so much to discuss, I forgot to say the fate we make. I remembered Binge Buddies, but I forgot this. Oh boy, yeah. But we have to rank and talk about a Terminator series that we just wrapped up last week. I apologize, I didn't put in the. We'll be skipping the day after Easter, so if that week off bothered you, I apologize. Now a week later, after you've already heard the episode that came out after it, but better late than never. If you can figure out the timing of my edit schedule with that little snafu, I bet you can. Anyhow, I loved this show, and I really loved talking about Terminators. This has been a lot of fun, even more so than I thought it would be. I really thought we'd just love the first two and just kind of hate on the rest, and I don't think we did that. I think we actually kind of enjoyed all of them to a degree.
Very steep or short degrees, whichever that one is.
Yeah.
I came to this with the same mindset of like, I know 1 and 2 are like highest pedigree of action film, and then the third one was fun action. But it struck me how almost prescient some of these films are, or ahead of their time. Mm-hmm. The concepts they're discussing, not just time travel, but they get into like multiverse theory and stuff like that later in the series. Reflecting, it almost feels like they were heady ideas that the people involved just weren't up to the task of executing, right? And like almost like they were just like several years too early for people to really get into understanding what they were trying to convey.
Yeah. If it really does come down to skill level, I do feel bad for a lot of the people involved, but that you might be onto something.
Well, I think it's not just skill level for the actual creative people. I think it's also a trust level from the studio side of letting the creative people be the creative people. Because I feel like everything after T2 was very much the studio had a lot more control, because they didn't have James Cameron, who go to look at any studio trying to control James Cameron about anything. Like, no, we think you should have a little bit less coffee, James. Fuck you.
We want Avatar 2 in 2011.
Imagine having the kind of power he has, where he can make that first movie and such a successful thing, waiting over a decade, and it's being like the next huge successful thing.
Yeah.
Like, he has some black magic that he's using.
Don't bet against Cameron. Although his third movie ever is coming out next year, so we'll see. Is it time to bet against Cameron? We'll see. The answer is probably no.
No, probably not.
Ryan, what do you think? You're of this Terminator rewatch?
And I love binging movies, and I appreciate the fact that you guys do this show, because it allows us to go back and watch movies, and watch them in order and, look at them in new light. And I think watching the Terminator really allowed me to appreciate what this genre has done for the action film and CGI. And I think that is leaps and bounds a testament to James Cameron and what he accomplished with those first 2 movies. And even after that, like, there are things done creatively with these movies that sometimes you're like, whoa, that's really cool. Sometimes you scratch your head at. But I think overall, the Terminator, regardless, every movie in a franchise has got road bumps. All around this movie franchise sets out to do what it wants to do, and that's provide great action flicks. So, yeah, I mean, that's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about a lot of these franchises, none of the Terminator movies are safe. Like, they never went like, this is a guaranteed crowd pleaser. Each one of them takes a swing, for better or worse.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, some of them like take real big swings and really miss the mark on it. And some someone took big swings, and actually, even though they're not sort of like accepted as such as like successes, I think that they did actually do a really good job with it. Like going back and rewatching these films again, you know, I've seen I watched Terminator and I watched The Terminator quite often. I watched Terminator 2 less often than The Terminator because I still, you know, there's just something about The Terminator for me that it's got that sort of like that grimy guerrilla filmmaking style. There's just something about that I kind of appreciate. I've always thought Terminator 2's great film, but a bit too much polish on it. And, you know, but those are the two that I really rewatch that often. And going back and rewatching 3, Salvation, Genesis, Dark Fate, it's kind of like, oh, I can actually, you know, with Terminator 3, I'd not seen that film in 20 years nearly. And it was like, this is actually quite a good film.
Yeah,
like, you know,
it might hit my rotation a little more often now.
Yeah, I think that's what it's kind of done. It's kind of shown me that actually these are actually pretty good films, and I should watch them a bit more.
Yeah,
and I like that. I like that when we find some stuff like, you know, doing the Halloween films, like rewatching. I'll probably be rewatching Halloween 3 a bit more because, you know, when you initially watch it, you go, what the fuck is this? Where's Michael? Where's Michael? Why is Michael Myers on the TV? What's going on? This is weird. But now it's like, oh, I know what they were doing. Now I understand it a bit more. Like, and you're watching it from that more critical eye, and you
got the homeless guy murder to look forward to. Everybody loves the homeless guy murder.
Yeah, like, you know, what was it? What was I described it like it's like they shook up a bottle of Pepsi and just popped the lid of Pepsi or something. But yeah, so it's that thing of like when you go in and you less kind of like passive on the viewing, more of like critically paying attention. You're like, oh, actually, there's some really good stuff in these films.
Oh, yeah.
That, you know, when you go into it going like, oh well, James Cameron's had nothing to do with these, so it's not going to be great. There's always that, I think, like whether consciously or subconsciously, you're always a bit guilty of going into a Terminator film that's not had any input from James Cameron, going, well, it's not going to be good because it's not got James Cameron's input. And I think that's, whether it's a conscious thought or a subconscious thought, I think that is always there. So you sort of prejudge it before you go in.
Yeah, that's fair. And then, you know, when they finally did get involved again, they made, I don't want to spoil my ranking, but my least favorite Terminator movie. So who knows what the right call is?
I don't know. I sometimes think with that, it was like James Cameron's going, do you know what? I'm fed up with people asking me to do a Terminator film. I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to give a big middle finger to them. I'm doing Avatar. Fuck you. I don't want to do anything with Terminator. Like, kill John Connor.
I'm pretty sure he helped out with the Terminator movie on a Zoom call in the corner of the room while he's writing Avatar. And he's like, what was that, Tim? Yeah, great. Just put Arnie in it.
But yeah, and you know that John Connor guy was really important. Fuck him.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. We got to start doing some rankings on this thing. So first thing we're ranking today, and we all kind of took this a little differently. Ryan went a little extreme. I went a little less extreme. Matt went not extreme enough, and I don't know where Joel landed.
Bare
minimum.
Matt
Matt very hastily expanded his not extreme enough list like in the 5 minutes before we were prepping, going, oh well, okay, well, there's that one. All
right, Brian, I don't know how you do things here on After the Hype, but I don't half-ass things. When I'm given an assignment, I do it.
I think I misread it all as like top 5. Everything else was top 5, and I was like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Well, see, that was me half-assing the list, so
wasn't clear, Brian. You need to be more clear with these things.
I write them out in like 3 seconds in a Facebook chat. Like, give me some slack. I barely tried. Anyhow.
Well, no. Don't be saying that to the listeners. No, dear listeners, he puts a lot of effort into this. He really cares about this podcast. I just don't care about writing the scripts. That's the only thing I don't care about. I care about the rest of it. Scripts are boring for podcasts. Anyhow, let's start talking about this wonderful script I made where we're going to rank all of the Terminators. What do you mean by all of them? I don't care.
Go nuts, have fun.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go first because I think I'm the only one who understood my my reasoning, which is fine. I don't have a numbered list because I wasn't really keeping track of these. I guess I could count really quick. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so these are my top 12 Terminators, I guess. So number 12 and dead last is the T-800 from Salvation. The big cartoony Arnie, because fuck that.
That didn't even make my list.
No,
Yeah,
I blocked it out of my memory.
I had to mention it because I had to put all the Arnies on here. So number 11.
Well, it wasn't an Arnie though. He wasn't even.
It's a cartoon Arnie.
Yeah, it's not actually. He wasn't actually involved at all though.
No,
so
but his
Arnie
likeness
was
was.
CGI.
He's in dead last. What do you want from me?
he didn't make my list. That's what I want from you.
All right, so number 11, I put the Dark Fate Arnie. I'm not going to say his name. I agree with Sarah Connor. Fuck him.
Carl. I'm having flashbacks now to those Walking Dead memes where it was like, him doing like the really stupid dad jokes. It's like, Carl.
At number 10, I have from Terminator Genesis, the T-1000. I do not like that version of the T-1000. It kind of annoys me. But the actor did a fine job, so I'll give him that much. Right after him, we have, I guess I'm counting him as a robot. I was kind of back and forth, but I decided to count him. We're going with Marcus from Salvation. Still kind of a human, but he's more machine than man now, if you will. After that, we have from Terminator 3, the T-850. I really liked him. The rest of these Terminators I like, I should say. The only ones I don't like for Marcus now. The rest of them are kind of tough-ish for me to put in an order. I really like the T-850. I don't know why they named him an 850 instead of an 800. That felt like kind of a weird move.
Human emotion. He understands more human.
Yeah, but the T-800 did too. So whatever. Like I can get over
that feels more like a software update than a hardware update. That's all I'm saying.
Shouldn't it be the T-800, like, T-800
patch 1.25,
1.636,
exactly.
build number alpha or something.
So that's why I'm not a big fan of the labeling of 850, but I like the guy. And then again from Terminator 3, red for him is the TX. I think Christina Loken did a great job. I think she was an awesome Terminator, a great bad guy. I don't think she gets nearly enough credit in the Terminator fandom for being as good as she was. After that, we have the John Connor bot from Genesis, followed by the Rev 9 from Dark Fate, followed by, and now the rest of them. These were really tough for me to rank, but I did the best. So these are my top 4. The T2, T-1000 in the 4th spot. Everyone knows why. He's great. And then somehow in my top 3 against all odds, we have Pops at number 3 because Pops is great in Genesis. He's the reason to watch Genesis. He's amazing, and I loved him. And then we have the T-800 and the T-800 in my 2nd and 1st spots, respectively. The Terminator 1 in part 2, and then Terminator 2, obviously, in part 1. That was a really tough coin flip for me, but I just have to go with which movie do I like more, and that's the Terminator that got to win. I'm gonna let Ryan go next because he's the one who went fucking nuts.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do this quick. So in dead last, and I kind of articulated this in the last episode of Dark Fate, is Carl, because the fact, as much as I love this movie, or I shouldn't say love it, liked.
You got an eyebrow from Joel on that one.
Right. As much as I liked,
pulled it off and threw it in.
As much as I liked Dark Fate and can defend it, they underutilized Arnold and they kind of made him very gimmicky, tried to do something different with him, and it just did not work after everything that we've seen him go through. So there's that. Then T-800 Salvation, then T-800 Genesis, not Pops, but one that gets killed right away by Sarah Connor. And then, of course, Genesis T-1000. And then after that is Marcus. So those are all ones I don't like. This one is not down further just because I think it's a cool idea, but the way that they promote or showed and spoiled everything about this Terminator, it made it really sucky. Like you're going in like, okay, so here we are, but it's the T-3000 from Genesis, aka John Connor. Next are kind of like the bots that are in those are just the ones that I hate in terms of Terminators. These are all the other bots. The Harvester from Salvation, those are the planes with the robots on them. The T1, which is Terminator 3, they're the ones that got bigger, that shoot the guns during all those assault scenes. The Hydrobots, I thought that was really cool. The Motobots, thought that was really cool. Both of those are from Terminator Salvation. And then you have the Hunter Killers, which are the flying ones. I thought those are really substantial. Those need to be on the list. But now the ones that I really, really like. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in number 8 is the T600. Those are the ones from Salvation. They're the ones with the mini cannons. I thought that was a badass concept.
Those are cool looking robots.
I thought those were really cool and they deserve to be on the list. 850.
But cool, but they were dumb as shit.
They were, and they got killed really fast. Then you got Terminator 3, 850. And then you got Pops. Pops didn't make it higher on my list, but I will give Pops the credit because he was the emotional glue that kept Genesis together. So top 5 is the Rev 9. I thought that was a very unique concept to have a Terminator that can split itself. I thought that made it really formidable. If you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4 of my top 5 are villains, because I am of a mindset that your movie can't be as good if you don't have a good villain. If there's not a good villain, your movie crashes. And the Terminator does villains really, really well.
That was the thing with Halloween, wasn't it? No one turns up to Halloween for the heroes. Everyone's turning up for Michael Myers. And that was the problem with Halloween 3, because he wasn't
show up. So after the Rev 9, you've got the TX. I thought a robot or a Terminator that can control other robots while having a metal alloy skin was really, really a unique concept. So the only hero on the list, number 3, T800 from T2. You have to have him in there, the top 3. There's no way around it. Now, this one was really, really difficult for me. The top 2. You've got 2 classic villains, the T800 and the T1000. And my second spot is the T800 from Terminator by a very close margin. I have the T1000 because Robert Patrick and his performance really sold the evil. You could look at him in his human form and get the emotions of a robot as a human. It was really unique, and just the way he toned his voice and carried everything. I think the number 1 Terminator for me was the T1000. I think that made T2 that much better because you've got 2 opposing forces, but one was just so when just the look in Robert Patrick's eyes really sold the evil and the pursuit of what he wanted to accomplish in this mission. That's my.
It was that switch, wasn't it? It was very good at that. Like, I'm blending in. There's my target.
I'm locked in.
Focus.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what sold it for me. So.
It was subtle, but fucking
so good.
Really, really good.
So was that quick enough?
Yeah, I mean that was like what 50. And
there was 19 to be fair. But
that's Ryan's top 50.
I think you made me realize I forgot to list the John Connor bot. Did I mention him in mine?
No.
Oh,
he did. You said John. You said John Connor bot.
I think you gave him the formal robot name instead of John Connor bot.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
I didn't know that it was a T3000 though, because it was never mentioned anywhere.
One time
they say it once.
One time.
Yeah, there's one line in the hospital. They say it.
Yep.
Oh, I missed that completely.
Yeah, I'm a T3000 with nanobots.
Yeah, it's dumb, but whatever. Jason Clarke sells the shit out of it. Like he didn't.
Jason Clarke could sell the shit out of anything. Let's face it.
He tried.
He really tried. All right, we're gonna save Matt's for last because I like that he was just adding shit as we were talking. So we're gonna let Joel go next.
So I'm gonna preface this with these are what I wrote down verbatim. So last was fucking Sam Worthington. I don't think I need to explain myself there. Number 6.
I didn't realize did Sam Worthington just join our Zoom channel at that nice moment?
Yeah.
His yell hasn't gotten better. It's just as shitty in Avatar 2. Anyhow, continue, Joel.
Number 6 is John Connor bot. It's not that he did a bad performance. It's that I think the longer I think about it, the less I like the idea of John Connor as a Terminator.
Yeah, totally.
Number 5 is Carl. I feel less I feel better about his character than I think most of you do, but I think I'll touch on it when we do the ranking of the movies. 4 is Pops, just because it feels like it's still fun, and it feels like a logical extension of a Terminator that has been around that long, has been allowed to survive. Number 3 is the it the YX, the Terminator 3?
TX.
TX, excuse me.
That might have been a typo because Y is next to T on the keyboard.
It might have been. It might have been.
Or you're thinking chromosomes and you're just super wrong. Wrong order, wrong letters.
I'm gonna go with the former, but I think she does a good enough performance where I would consider her on, maybe not on par, but within shooting distance of the other Terminators, the good ones. My next one is T-1000. I think that between the acting and the concept, it is just excellent work. He is frightening to contend with, seems like an unstoppable force. Great work. If I'm going to split up the T-800, it's going to be Terminator 2's T-800. I think there's a reason why the series blew up, and it's in no small part due to Arnold Schwarzenegger's acting and how he's been able to show himself as a robot, but still like toy with the idea of some kind of humanity. And a great movie, And then number 1 has to be the original Terminator for me. There is just something so terrifying about him in the first movie, in spite of the limitations that you were talking about, Matt, or maybe because of it. It sort of forced a lot more effort in order to make this world believable and him a sincerely believable and chilling villain. And I think that it is to his credit that first movie really lifted off this whole thing and just hit the tone of that movie perfectly.
Yeah, 100%. Something the Juice was not going to be able to pull off.
My favorite fact of that, just mentioning the Juice there, is like they didn't believe that audiences would buy O.J. Simpson as a killer.
I buy
it. Maybe different times. Maybe years later.
Maybe it's not that they couldn't believe him as a killer, and more that they want somebody less gleeful about it.
Yeah.
Less comfortable.
All right, so this is how you're gonna kill someone. Don't worry, I know how to kill someone. I mean, just call action.
It's like, OJ, you're supposed to be a robot. Can you please stop grinning so much and laughing? You are not the Joker.
Sorry, I just love murder. All right, Matt, you're up. Rank these bots.
So yeah, I started with a top 5, and then when I realized that I had misunderstood the question, I very hastily added an extra 5 to make it a top 10. And the only reason I actually have a top 10 is like I was sitting at 9 for age, and I was like, well, I can't think of any more to add on to this, and I was like, oh fuck it, Carl, you're at the bottom. So number 10, Carl, because he's just shoehorned in. Like honestly, I like some of the stuff that he does. And I like some of the dialogue, but it's very, it doesn't feel like what they're going for with this film. It's like you said, he's just there to be quippy. There's some great scenes in there. Well, relatively speaking, some great scenes with him, and some funny lines. Like I love the bit where he opens the thing and it's like all the weapons, and he's like talking about the probability of a post-apocalyptic thing, and then he also just adds on, plus this is Texas, and it's like, yeah. Love that. Yeah. But yeah, like apart from that, he is superfluous to the plot. He's shoehorned in. Yeah. Number 9 was the T1 from T3. I think it's a great idea of like this, showing us these early concepts of like these AI controlled drones, essentially, that are basically like miniature tanks. I thought it was a very cool design with the miniguns, and like I think they had like rockets on them as well, and yeah, really cool. Number 8 is Conobot from Terminator Genesis. Jason Clarke sells the hell out of it. Like I listened when I was listening to the episode that we did on Genesis. earlier on in the week, and the line you were talking about, Brian, where he's like, "Hear that? That was the dice rolling." It's so good, like the delivery of those lines, and just like how cold and calculating he goes, and like he does that sort of switch where he's acting like John, and then when he actually gets found out of actually being a machine, it's just this immediate flip of like, oh well, and he's still trying to manipulate them a little bit, but then when they don't buy it, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna kill you then, and it's so fucking good. Number 7 is the T-850 from Terminator 3. It's basically very like the reason it's so far down my list is because it's very similar to the T-800 from T2. It's just it's already got it's already had the lessons from John. The T-800 in T2 has already had, so it's kind of like why it falls down my list a little bit. Number 6 is the TX. Fucking great idea. Like, there was this, I remember that people talking about, oh, well, they just made it a woman so they could have Annie say she'll be back and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, even if that's true, she still did an amazing job. And like, you look at Kristanna Loken, she was like, I think when we looked it up, she's like 21, 22 or something.
She was young,
She was really young. It was like one of her first acting roles. It was definitely first cinematic acting role. And she does a fucking good job. She's channeling she channels a bit of Robert Patrick. She channels a little bit of like the original Terminator as well. And then does her own thing with it as well. And I like it. I really, really like her as a villain. And like just the design's really cool. Like the idea that we've had 2 Terminator films where it's like, oh, well, they can't bring any weapons back because nothing dead will go and all that stuff. So you've had the T-1000 come back, which is the closest to bringing any sort of weapons, but it's just knives and stabbing weapons. But then the idea of like, oh, well, now this one's got built-in weapons inside it, but it's okay. They've sent it back because it's got the liquid metal covering on it. And it's a very cool design. And then they're like taking over like the nanobots and like very, very sort of like prescient now when we're like looking at these self-driving cars that people have been hacking into, and there's like, there's been talk of like people trying to hack into these self-driving cars, and like the idea of a machine like like controlling technology and making things do like it's very before its time. I think if Terminator 3 came out today, I think it would be a lot better because a lot of the stuff that it's talking about, and we talked about all this. I'm going to move on. Fucking hell. Rev 9 it comes in number 5. I agree with Ryan. The idea
you're only on 5?
Yeah. So this was my original top 5. So Rev 9, the idea that it's split like this idea that it's very similar concept to the TX, but it can actually operate like independently of each other as well. So it's like instead of like 1, it actually can become 2, and it's really cool idea. Right, I'm good. My top 4 was incredibly difficult, and there is such a tiny margin between a lot of these. Depending on the way the wind blows, they could change positions very easily. So I've got T-1000, the original T-1000 in number 4. Robert Patrick, we've said it, we've sung his praises already. He is just phenomenal in that role.
Really is.
Number 3 is the T-800 in Terminator 2. I think, it's a very cool. You see that sort of like where he starts to become more human, and Arnie does a really good job with like the subtleties on the acting. Number 2 is Pops. I fucking love Pops. I think he's so great. And it's like, Pops is basically where the T2, T-800 would have been had he not, self-terminate, been lowered into the liquid metal. That's where he would have been, I think. And very, very cool. And then number 1, it's the T-800 from the Terminator. Like, he's absolutely terrifying. There is something like the T-1000 is like focused, and like I think we said, like, the T-1000 is like a scalpel, the T-800 is like a hammer. But there's this sort of like this genuine like the physicality of Arnold in that role and the way that he moves, the way that he's just sort of like very focused and robotic and things like that. It's so good, and it makes that film so fucking good and creepy and scary. I absolutely love it, and I want Arnie to do a few more villain roles, to be honest, because he's really good. Like very, very, very chilling. I would love him to go and do a villain again.
Yeah, he can do it well, and
Yeah,
he's getting older. You got to do it while you got time, man.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna move on. Matt, I'm sorry for giving you shit on your top 10. It's a very good list.
I talk too much. If you don't know that by now, then you know what podcast have you been listening to?
Should I just start? I get a sign just to hold up? Matt, you're talking too much.
Yeah.
Give him numbers. Be like 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes.
Wrap it up.
1 minute.
Just like
Shut the fuck up, Matt.
Well, he makes good points, so I feel
He
bad
does.
interrupting him. So
Matt articulates a lot of the stuff that we can't.
yeah, so he just does it very long. It's a tough thing to interrupt.
yeah,
It's a good problem
Yeah.
to have, but problems are problems. Anyhow, let's move on.
I mean, why say something with 3 words when 25 will do better?
This 3 takes less time. Let's move into action sequences. We're going to kind of keep the same order, but just kind of shift down a rung. So now I'm going to go last. Ryan's going first.
Okay, so action moments. So because there's 6 movies, I decided to do an honorable mention. We were told to get 5, but I decided to be nice. I did this for all my lists to try to do something.
I did it
for each
too.
film. So
Sorry, I did
action
3
sequence.
honorable mentions.
So for my action sequence, my honorable mention is the opening of Salvation. I think what they really set the tone with that movie, with that opening where they go down to the hole, try to find some things, and of course, there's Terminators there that he shoots in the head. There's also a nuclear bomb that goes off. I think that just really set the tone for that desolate future wasteland. And it's not your average Terminator movie. This is going to be more military-esque. So I thought that was good. The opening storming of Genesis takes number 5. When they are rushing Skynet in the final battle that will end everything, I thought that was extremely well done. From the Terminators at the gate, seeing that someone is not where they need to be. I thought everything about that was really, really cool. The hunter-killer crashing down, really great opening sequence. Number 4, the car chase in Dark Fate with the bulldozer. I thought that was really well done. It had some semblances of other Terminator films, but when Grace is sitting there chucking the what do they call it, rebarb, and he just takes his hand because he's pinned and he separates. I just thought that it was a whole new ball game. So that sequence was really good. Plus the introduction of Sarah Connors in that sequence, and I thought that was really well done. Number 3 is, when I was trying to think of something from Terminator, I was like, what would be my favorite action sequence? And there's quite a few, but the one that really stands out for this is just the crane chase. After we find out that the TX can control cars without being in them, and they're trying to get away in Claire Danes, her name just escaped me. Catherine Brewster's car. I thought that was a really good. It was a really good sequence. So, my last 2, one from 1 and 1 from 2, and this is where it got a little bit hard. So what I'm going to say is this. For 2, I went Terminator, and I said the police station massacre. I think that was just very well done and just showing how formidable he is. So that is my second one. For that, the police station massacre is there. And then number 1 is just Cyberdyne. When they're in Cyberdyne and all hell breaks loose, whether him with the mini cannon, that is so iconic. The part in the lobby, the chase after that, everything about that sequence, about that 30-minute sequence, everything of Cyberdyne is James Cameron-esque and just chef's kiss.
All right, Joel, you're up.
So I followed the instructions of this homework assignment. So I've
No
got
honorable mentions.
number 5 is for some reason it really just grabs me. In Terminator Genesis, the Golden Gate Bridge scene.
That was gonna make my list if it wasn't for.
Yeah, it's a real solid action sequence, but I mentioned it before. The point where Arnold went and stepped out of a car that is drifting is one of the coolest action sequences I've seen, or action scene moments, and it's so smooth and it's ridiculous, but it works within the context of that movie so well.
And it works as well because you can believe a robot as sophisticated and a machine as sophisticated as the T-800 would be able to calculate that down to that level, and it would work. And and plus that sequence has got the nice to meet you, get out.
Right.
Joel, that's with the Golden Gate thing, that's how I made up for it. That's on my favorite moments is Arnold getting out of the car on the bridge.
Okay. Yeah. It's just pure cool guy moment, which is it works for that movie. Number 4 is in Terminator 3, the graveyard scene. So like it's such a cool setup. You get the awesome here's the whole casket of guns and weapons, and it's fun. It's fun, which is what T3 does really well. The last 3 were very difficult for me. So number 3 is in Terminator 1, the chase scene with the pipe bombs being thrown out of the car.
Yes. Oh, that's so good.
It is so tense, and they get that fear out of you so well, and you can tell that they're throwing these explosives, but they're still pathetically weak compared to the T-800. They're stalling. That's all they can do, and it's such a cool action suspense moment. And these were really tough here, but my number 2 was the end sequence of Terminator 1. Just the ending in the foundry.
Her versus the endoskeleton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, her and Kyle Reese, but mostly her.
Yeah.
They, for an action movie that can make you feel like there are true stakes and the people could lose, that's what you want out of this kind of movie, and they succeeded in spades. Number 1 is the end sequence of Terminator 2, when it's the T-1000 versus everybody. And that movie I love, and there aren't many things that I feel like they do better than T1, but that moment where they're playing off the ideas of the first one, and they have the layering of the T-1000 confusing John Connor, and them working with that extra layer works. It works really, really well and elevates it to me just a tiny bit above that end of Terminator 1 sequence.
Sure. All right, Matt.
Right, so I've got honorable mentions because you will notice a theme with my top 5. That's all I'm going to say. So my honorable mentions, Dark Fate, the car chase where Grace is throwing the rebar through, and then when Sarah Connor arrives, where it's you just get to the point where we're dead, and then she just pulls up in the truck, and it's she's got the big auto shotgun thing, and then just whips out the rocket launcher, and she's like, I'll be back. And it's and then they nick a car, and she's like, motherfucker. The police station assault in Terminator 1 is an honorable mention. It's a classic scene.
Yeah.
What more is there to say? Basically. And Terminator Genesis, the fight between Pops and John at the end inside Genesis itself, where he's got the magnet glove things and he's punching. He's trying to get him into the time dilation thing, and it's that sacrifice play. It's a cool sequence. But it's also, it does what I think is you need in really good action sequences at times. It puts a very emotional stake on it as well. So my actual top 5, which I was writing this out, I was like, fuck, I can't do it like this. But then I was like, no, I've got to. Fuck it. So And coming in at number 5 is the Future War sequence in Terminator 2, because holy shit, that whole opening sequence is just, that sets the stage for what everything that's coming. It's so well shot. Like you were saying, Brian, on the actual episode, it's got a sequence where it's 3 different, like it's like a 3-second sequence, but it's the most
3 totally different technologies working together.
Yeah, 3 different, like totally different technologies working together perfectly. All that composition. There's so much sort of like care and attention made to everything. You know, we get to see more of the hunter killers. You get to see more of the big Terminator tank things. We see them in more of their glory, and it's just it sets that thing up of like, I want to see this as a film. I want a Future War film. Coming at number 4 is the bit with the pipe bombs, Terminator 1, that whole chase where, like, you know, we've seen how long that, you know, we know how long it took them to make those pipe bombs, and he's just throwing them and it's doing nothing. And it's just like got all that time prepping, and it's not really doing anything, because it's just this unstoppable machine. Number 3, the SWAT van versus helicopter in Terminator 2. I mean, I could have gone the whole Cyberdyne thing, but I feel like that's a cheat, because the whole Cyberdyne thing, to me, it's like 4 or 5 different action sequences. Like, you know, when looking at action sequences, I could have said the last half of Terminator 2, because it is basically an action sequence. Like,
and it's awesome. So I would have counted it. I'm like, yeah, good choice.
Yeah. But I wanted to pick out specific sequences, and just the practicalities of the helicopter chasing the SWAT van down the freeway, and then them actually flying an actual real helicopter, not a model, not a CGI thing, an actual helicopter flying it under an overpass. It just looks amazing. It's like 2 seconds you see it for, but the sound design on it as well, you can hear the change in the pitch that the rotors are making when it goes under. There's so much care and thought put into it, and just the sound effects of the gunfire as well, like, amazing. Number 2 is Technar in Terminator 1. It's the first time that we see someone try to take down the Terminator, Kyle. But I really struggled with this one a little bit. I almost didn't have it on this list, because it's not, for me personally, it's not so much about the action in that sequence. It's more about the build-up. We'll get into that a little bit later. Spoiler alert. But I just think it's so good. Like, you know, you see how, you know, Kyle unloads the shotgun at the Terminator so many times that he blasts him out through the window, and he's like, "Come with me if you want to live." And Sarah's just like completely out of it. She's like, "Well, how the hell is this guy? What are we running from? The guy's dead." And then all of a sudden you just see him rise up, and it's like, "Oh shit, oh shit!" And then they're running afterwards, and then, you know, and again from that moment on, the film is essentially just a long chase sequence. And then number 1 is the LA River in Terminator 2, because honestly, it's amazing. That whole sequence is just so fucking good. You got the escalation of, like, the T-1000 is chasing after him on foot, and it's like John gets away on the bike, so he steals the was it like it's a tow truck, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And then he thinks he's got away. He's looking down and he can't see anything, and all of a sudden you've got the do, and then just like the poof, as the truck comes down into the LA River, and it's just like, oh shit. And then you've got like Arnie on his Harley, sort of like chasing after him. The flip cocking of the shotgun, it's fucking amazing. Like, everything about that sequence is so good. The bit where he gets in front and he just like lifts John up like he's a bag of sugar. And then you're like, yeah, and then you have like the music as well. And it's like the shotgun comes out, flip cock, boom, shoots the tire, and it's just the sound effect, like that tire just going, and then smash, boom, and it's not just what I love about that whole sequence as well, it's like the explosion that happens. It's not just, oh, it's crashed into a thing and it's just going to blow up because that's what cars do in films. It's very specific. And it took me about 10 viewings to notice that what it is the fuel is leaking out and there's an electrical cable that's swinging back and forth and it causes a spark. And that's what causes the explosion. It's so like, the level of detail on that. Any other director would have just been like, oh, well, we'll blow it up because it looks cool to have an explosion, but
it hit a wall, kaboom.
Yeah. But Cameron puts in like a real world thing that could cause that explosion. It's not like, this is not Michael Bay we're dealing with, where like, someone drives into a wall at 10 miles an hour and a nuclear bomb goes off.
So Matt's hot take from the Terminator series: James Cameron, not Michael Bay.
It's a hot take. I'll grant you that. The hottest of takes.
Did you have anything else with that, or was that the end of yours?
That was it. That was like, so I don't know if you noticed my top 5. It was literally all from Terminator 1 and Terminator 2.
That's pretty cool. All right. So my top 5 action sequences, I failed at my own homework as well, and I have honorable mentions. My first honorable mention, I couldn't really figure out like an exact place to put this on my list, and that's why it hit here, because I also couldn't figure out which one I like more. But I just put Grace versus the Rev 9. Any other fights, the stakes around the fights are never that great, and they're not shot that well, but the choreography between the two actors is incredible. And it's really fun watching them duke it out. Even if the sequences aren't that wonderful in and of themselves, I do like watching the actual fight between the two of them. The other honorable mention I had,
the Grace and Carl versus the Rev 9, I thought was really cool as well. When Grace picks up the chain and she does that when she's spinning around, and it's the sound.
It's cool.
The sound design. Yeah.
The other honorable mention, which you guys have already talked about a lot of these, so I won't go crazy into detail, is the opening of Genesis, of them winning and taking on Skynet. It's such a cool sequence. It's like that future war I always actually wanted to see and didn't get to see it with the budget. So, cool. All right, so getting my top 5. My number 5 is the original movie from Terminator 1, the car chase after Tech Noir. Like when they're trying to get away from him and he like puts his head, like that's when we lose the eyebrows and we get dorky Arnie throughout the rest of it. Like that entire car chase is really cool. And we also get like a big exposition dump in the middle of that car chase, which we talked about a lot in the episode. A lot of movies, they don't do it at the same time. You either get action or story. And this is a really good marriage of the both. Number 4 is the helicopter chase on the highway in T2. Everything that Matt said, watching a helicopter go in the underpass is absolutely incredible. Number 3, no one mentioned, so I'll throw this one on here, is basically when the shit hits the fan in T3. I think all of that, of just the Terminators coming to life, in the office and just murdering everybody, is a really good action sequence.
The bathroom fight.
The bathroom fight, all of it, just the shit hitting the fan at the end of T3 is really, really well done. And for a movie that's been pretty goofy the whole way through, when it decides to stop being goofy, it makes that left turn rather well. It's like, shit is real now.
It's like they just take the intensity level and just go, whoop.
Yep. And it's like, just with the kicking it off by shooting Catherine's dad. Like, all right, so we're launching Skynet. I'm sure everything's like, oh God, it's already affecting me. Like, it's pretty cool. Number 2 is the police station from Terminator 1. That entire action sequence haunted me my entire life. It is so insanely well done. It's hard to call it an action sequence. I almost just want to call it like a horror movie.
That's why it didn't actually make my. That's why it didn't actually make my list, because I was looking at it going, I can't class this as an action sequence because it's not. It's a massacre. And it's like action sequences are supposed to be fun, but like what you're essentially seeing is like a bunch of police officers
just getting murdered. It's so brutal, but it's just so well done, and it just stuck with me for so long. And I figured things going boom technically makes it an action sequence, so if I'm going to count it, it's going to go high on the list. But you can never beat number 1, and I mean that never, as in not in a Terminator movie and not in most any other movies. It's the best action sequence put to film. I'm going to die on this hill. It's what Matt had his number 1 as well, the LA River in T2. Easily one of the best action sequences. Matt froze on the best freeze right there. Of just the but
was I like this or something?
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, like there's just nothing in my mind better when it comes to action movies and putting a sequence together than the LA River sequence in T2. Just everything about it is just
that sequence alone is responsible for me wanting to go to the LA River next time I'm in LA. I want to go there. I want to have a wander down it. I know it's a giant sewer. I don't care.
I mean, it's mostly just kind of what you see in that movie. It's just kind of like a sidewalk, just a river instead.
Okay.
But no, like that sequence made me want to get into films. Like that's what made
Yeah.
me pursue the career I'm still doing, because how amazing that sequence was. I mean, that's true for the entirety of Terminator 2. That's kind of why I live in LA. But yeah, like that's why I love Terminator. Not the reason I love Terminator 2, but one of the reasons I love Terminator 2 is that sequence. It's just so good. Moving into top 5 lines or moments or both, if you're me and Ryan. My list got way out of control in this one. I think I ended up with like 13 things for my top 5 because I did
not that
lines
crazy.
and moments. But we're gonna let Joel go first because that's where we are in the lineup.
All right. I feel like I'm gonna be a black sheep in some of this here. But
Because
number
you did your
5.
homework.
Also that. Number 5 is from Terminator 2. It is where I think they're driving away from some of the action, and John Connor says, "You know what you're doing?" Oh, they're doing the surgery, right? He says, "You know what you're doing?" Terminator says, "I have detailed files on human anatomy." Sarah Connor says, "I'll bet. Made seem more efficient killer, right?" Correct.
Yeah. It's just the deadpan way, just like as he's stitching it, just go, correct. And it's just like,
Yeah.
that's it. It's like, it's literally like, you know, to him, it's just, yeah.
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
that
Yeah.
blunt stop, it's really arresting too, because you don't expect such a conversation killer
Yeah.
lines, but well done. Number 4, it's actually near the end of the Terminator 3 when Arnold is saving them by holding up the big security door, and John Connor says thank you, and Terminator says we'll meet again. They
When I
alluded,
kill you.
but I think that is a very smart way to close the loop in some ways, and how he is basically forced to find out how he dies earlier. You have to imagine that John Connor still has, like, number 1, the fondness from Terminator 2 activity of the Terminator being there to save him, and then him being back to save him again, but also with the acknowledgement that, like, this thing that's saving you is also going to be the end of you. And I could almost see in John Connor, when they have that last interface with each other, almost like a sadness to him because of that acknowledgement. And I just thought it worked very well with that. Number 3 is anytime Arnold smiles in the movies. It doesn't matter which one it is. It works for different reasons each time. Number 2, I'll take the long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just a really, really cool moment in that movie, and such a smart detail, like a very smart acknowledgement of just like, fucking robot. Of course he can just wait whenever, and it's not going to bother him, because what's time to a robot that travels through time?
Yeah, and what I love about that even more is like when they actually go in the future and they see all the stuff that he's gathered and everything like that, and there's like a little under the line where he's like, oh, looks like taking the long way paid off or something, or taking the long way pays off, because he's had that time to build up everything they need, and that line sets up that later sequence. It's fucking great.
It really is. It's probably one of the smartest parts of that movie. And for me, number 1 was no brainer. Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah.
It's, they have a few recurring lines, but there was not one time that they used that line where it didn't work for me. So I was very happy with that. It was, you want to sometimes avoid those obvious ones when you're coming up with these lists, but I couldn't avoid it. It had to be that.
It's like, it's very much ingrained in, like, you say that phrase, anyone else says that in a film or a TV series, everyone's automatically going, oh, it's referencing Terminator.
Oh yeah, like look at the Lego movie. Come with me if you want to not die. It's like, okay, we know what you're doing, Lego movie. We'll see you.
Yep.
Yeah, the only time I don't think it worked for me was Dark Fate. I don't remember how Grace bumbles that line, but she says like, come with me if you want to continue fighting and not dying. And it's like, what? Just say the line. Just say the thing. Yeah, just say the thing.
I may or may not have forgotten about that.
This is the dark timeline where we use too many words to get across the same point. This is the Matt timeline, should I say?
Matt, did you write that script?
Oh no, here it is. I found it. It's come with me or you're dead in the next 30 seconds.
I kind of liked that.
But just say the thing. Just say the thing. I'm here for the thing. Say the thing.
Say the line. Say the line.
Little John Claude from Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good movie. I love that movie.
God, the dude he fights in that movie is just terrifying.
And he could be a Terminator.
Yeah, he could have been a Terminator.
Segue.
He was, wasn't he?
No.
Matt,
No,
you're
I
up.
don't mean in. I didn't mean
in the movie, yeah.
You're up.
So again, I kind of cheated with this and did extras. So I've got 3 honorable mentions, and I did top 5 quotes with honorable mentions, and then I just did a top moment in the whole series because it was like my quotes are just like I love these lines and I think the lines are great, but I have to mention as like, you know, the top moment in the series for me, and it's not a quote. So I'll do the quotes first. So honorable mentions. Talk to the hand.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad that got mentioned today.
Yep. Another one is it was a whole long sequence where he's John Connor's like, I don't want this. It's in Terminator 3 again. It's like, I don't want this fucking thing. Fuck you. I'm not, and all that stuff. And it's like, good, that's better. And it's like, and he's basically saying, what, you were just fucking with it? And then the line is, basic psychology is among my subroutines. And he's literally just using reverse psychology. And then we've got a couple of honorable mentions from Terminator Genesis as well. Did you mate?
Pops!
Oh, can you just not say the word mate to me again? Like ever? Fucking great. And then, like, you know, the other honorable mention from Terminator Genesis is protect my Sarah. Yeah. Like, it's as heart-wrenching as the thumbs up in Terminator 2 for me. Like, it's not as much heart-wrenching, but it really stoked some emotions in my cold black heart. In my machine heart, should I say. Sure. Keep it on brand. So into the actual top 5 quotes. Coming in at number 5, you're terminated, fucker.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a fucking great one.
Good one.
Number 4, your levity is good. It relieves tension and fear of death.
Which one is that from again?
That's Terminator 3.
That's right.
Because they're in the back just talking, then you just hear his voice from the front. And then, like, number 3, I know now why you cry, but it is something I can never do. Just like, yeah, it just...
I'm gonna start crying right now.
Yeah, that line, it basically sums up what the whole film is, the whole message of the film, really. But yeah, so coming at number 2, nice to see you. Get out. I just love that. Like, he's literally just landed and his head's gone through the fucking windscreen as well. The police officer's looking really terrified.
Genesis is getting a lot of love today, man.
Yeah, it's got some good lines.
It does.
And then, of course, number 1, right there with you, Joel. Come with me if you want to live. Like, for me, it's the Kyle Reese one. Like, he's so good at that because it's the first time we hear it, but just the way that he delivers that line. But it could just as easily be any of the other versions of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my top, like, so that's the quotes out of the way. Top moment in the whole series, Tech Noir. The build up, the music, the way that you have that song, you got me burning, and then it just very slowly blends into the score of that very sort of like boom, boom, and then, like, as the Terminator turns around, sees Sarah Connor, he's walking up, we're going to full blown slow motion. He's walking through, and it's just something about him in slow motion walking through, like, with this laser focus while there's these 2 people on either side of the frame that are just dancing away in slow motion, having a really, like, just completely, like, not really present in anything. They're just having a good time, and it's like he's just moving his way through them. He's not shoving them out of the way or anything like that. It's just passing through them, and then he just, like, goes up, pulls the gun out, and you see the little laser dot on Sarah's head, and then you just hear the shotgunners Kyle just boom, and then you like hits the Terminator turns around, and then he just keeps firing and firing and firing. So good, so fucking good. I love
incredible.
that whole sequence. Like that sequence alone is why I love the Terminator so much. Like when you look at like just the composition of that, and this is a director it's essentially his first feature film.
It's his first feature film. We can forget the other attempts. This is his first
that he's done from start to finish. He's written it, he's directing it, and he's not been fired from it, basically.
Hey, Piranha 2: The Spawning is a cinematic masterpiece.
It's not.
You're right, it's not.
The 10 minutes of footage that Cameron actually shot that ended up in the film probably is.
Better than the rest. It's not a good movie.
No, it's not.
But
I really tried.
It's incredible though, for that is essentially a first-time director. It reminds me of when I go back and I watch Thief, which is directed by Michael Mann, and you're like, this is a first-time feature film from this guy. This is insane. This is like so good, and like right there with Cameron as well with Terminator. You look at that and you go, this does not look like a first-time feature. This looks like a veteran director with like 10 years under the belt of fucking amazing. Yeah, so good.
All right, so that makes me next.
I'm finished gushing.
That was your last one. I didn't imagine you would end on anything other than tech noir. So okay. All right, so here we go. So I took my own homework assignment and I threw it the fuck out the window, and I did top 5 quotes, top 5 moments, and 3 honorable mention quotes. So we're gonna go through this as quickly as we can. Sorry, I've said this a lot while we've been recording. This is like my favorite thing ever. I fucking love Terminator. So me trying to narrow it down was going to be extremely difficult. So this being only 13, you have to imagine how much I left on the cutting room floor. So my honorable mentions are all more jokey-ish, but they stick with me. So my first honorable mention line, doing quotes first, is "She's not my mother, Todd." I love it. My next honorable mention is it's mostly because of the delivery, and it named our show. There's no fate but what we make for ourselves. I've always loved the way his voice cracks on ourselves. It's stuck with me forever. It's fantastic.
And then also like following up with that way his voice goes, "She's gonna blow him away.
She's gonna blow him away." It's just like turns into Looney Tunes for a second. It's great. My third honorable mention, and this one it comes from Genesis, and it's one of the best lines in the movie, and everyone always forgets about it, but it cracks me up every time. What do we want? Time travel. When do we want it? It's irrelevant. It's just fucking great. All right, so my here are my actual top 5 quotes from the Terminator franchise. I did the best I could. Coming in at number 5 from the first movie that stuck with me since I was a child. I saw it the first time. Fuck you, asshole. You don't need any context. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's great.
Yep.
And then from Genesis at number 4, "Protect My Sarah." He delivers that line so well. It just hits you right in the feels. It's great. Number 3, specifically from Terminator 1, as much as I want it to be from Terminator 2, it's from Terminator 1. "I'll be back." Kind of what Joel said, you want to avoid the cheesy ones, but this one wasn't a cheesy one when it was in the movie. It just became one because it's so incredible after that line.
And what's so great about the "I'll be back" in 1 is he literally goes out and then drives through the fucking like literally straight through, and it's just very like people think of the "I'll be back" things like, oh, it's the catchphrase, but actually it's a very machine-like response, like "I'll be back," and he's like literally I'll just go get this car and like I'll come back in a second.
Literally, "I'll be back."
Here I am.
That's so good.
It would have been great, like if he just opened up the door and goes, "Hello,
I'm back."
Opens up the door, like walks up to the police desk sergeant who's just squashed against the wall and just goes, "Told you."
Or no, he's like looking around for him, can't find him, and then he lifts up, "Told you."
What did I miss?
Number 2, Matt mentioned it earlier, but it's from Genesis. I can't believe my number 2 line is from Genesis, but it's such a good fucking line, and he sells it so well. Do you hear that, Kyle? That was the dice roll. I
Mhm.
fucking love that line. It doesn't feel like a Terminator line, but it's just such a good line that it stood out amongst everything else. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
And then number one is a tie, which I know is a cheat, but I had to do it. And this was a tie long before I heard all of your lists, which I find very funny because it came up. But the first half of the tie is "I Know Now Why You Cry," but it's something I can never do, of course.
Yeah.
And then the other half of the tie is "Come With Me If You Want to Live."
We're 3 for 3 so far of that being in the number one spot.
It's such a good fucking line. Like it's just
Not
perfect.
mine.
Yeah.
God damn it, Ryan!
And technically mine had to
You're fired.
share the number one spot. So like we give it 2.5. But yeah. So moving on to my top 5 favorite moments, because I couldn't just do quotes. We'll go through this as quickly as I can. Number 5 is Pops and Kyle loading guns in Genesis. It's just such a great sequence. Like there's one of those sequences with very little dialogue, but you get so much story, and it's great.
I think what works the best with that though is the music that's playing in the background.
Yeah,
and it's almost like a very subdued dance because the way that they're moving, it's kind of like almost in tune to the music.
He's talking like click slam, click slam,
yeah.
and then it just stops for a moment. He has like his robot arthritis happens, and it's like old but not obsolete, and it's just like it's fantastic. Number 4 is from Terminator 3, and it's kind of right after the action sequence I had from Terminator 3, and it's when they're in the silo, whatever you want to call it, the bomb shelter, and it dawns on the characters that they lost.
Yep.
Like that realization moment of, oh, we failed, is one of the best moments in any of the Terminator movies. It's just so fucking good. I can't say we sung its praises like crazy in the episode. Go listen if you want to hear me sing about it again. It's amazing.
It's a brave take.
Like you said in the episode as well, they would never do that in this day and age.
Mm-mm.
Like the closest you're gonna get to that is like in Avengers Infinity War, where they've already got, the sequel is coming out.
They've already filmed it. Like
yeah. And all that sort of stuff. So it's like, you never have that as like literally, we're making a new film, this is the ending. We've got no sequels lined up or anything like this though.
Yeah. And it's it's such a good hit. Number 3 spot is John and the T-800 from Terminator 2 talking about their feelings while fixing a car. I love that sequence. Like the "why do you cry?" And then like, you mean people? And just like the Terminator's response. Yeah, it's so human. And it's like this that little human moment. Like we start seeing the humanity creep into the Terminator like after the switch flip. And it's like, it's fantastic. And it's just a little sweet moment.
It's that subtle, like as the sort of like the thing is like, you're ramping up further and further and further to like, the humanity of the Terminator is learning more and more and more, and you can see that progression, and that sort of sequence is like, it's almost like the apex of that learning. It's really good. And
just the inquisitive robot of the "why do you cry?" and like, so pain causes it. Well, sometimes, and trying to explain emotion to something that doesn't have emotion. It's just a very well done scene. And fucking Eddie Furlong, like he was such a good actor. Like it's such a shame life kicked the shit out of him the way it did, because that kid was fucking talented. Number 2, just listen to everything Matt said about tech noir and imagine I said it here, because number 2 is tech noir.
You got me.
It's everything Matt said. It's amazing. And then my number 1 moment in all of Terminator through and through is Sarah Connor seeing the Terminator in the mental institution in Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Choice. Amazing moment.
It's the trauma. You see, like, she still has trauma from that, because she's been super tough up until this point. She's like kicking the crap out of everyone. She's not afraid of anything. And then
busted a dude's teeth out not 30 seconds before this. Just...
And like the minute she sees the Terminator, she just collapses. And she runs, like she turns and runs back to the people she was getting away from, being all badass, and then literally is, he'll kill us all, he'll kill us all. And it's like, it's PTSD 101 is that. And it's like, we like back in 1991, we don't really know that so much. Like watching it now with like a more modern eye of like, more awareness of that sort of thing, you're like, oh, I see what they were doing there. And it's amazing.
It's so well done. Like just fucking Linda Hamilton destroys in that scene. And like
it's believable. It's not over the top. It's not anything
even
like that.
And even Eddie
it's-
Furlong in it is great. Just like mom,
Yeah.
mom, snap out of it. This is important. We need
Yeah.
to move. Like just that like incredibly tense sequence. Like now is not the time to freak out. We need to move. We're going to die. Like
Yeah.
it's so incredible.
And then the holding his hand out like, "Come with me if you want to live."
And then he hits her with the
Yeah.
Kyle line. It's just like, God damn it, this is a good sequence.
Yep,
So yeah,
yep.
favorite moment in all of Terminator right there. Hard to argue with, in my opinion. Although Matt did a great job arguing Tech Noir, but like that's like we're talking like inches between those two sequences for me. I think they're as good as each other. I just give the slight edge to Terminator 2 because it's Terminator 2. I'm being honest about my bias.
I was gonna say you're biased.
yeah,
biased.
I'm being very honest.
Just ruling bias.
Ryan, you're up.
Okay, I too threw Brian's things and threw them out the window. So I'm just gonna go through these really quickly.
Joel's just been so disappointed. It's like disapproving parents.
Listen, dude, I'm a teacher. I know how to break the rules. So,
you know, I've got enough disappointment to where I don't need to be disappointed in you.
It's just a perpetual state of disappointment. Is that what you're saying?
More or less. Like when it becomes your baseline, then it's just like you can't tell most of the time, and then you say something, and I'm just like, oh yeah, disappointment exists.
I aim to please, Joel. All right, so I split these two up. So for lines, this was difficult because again, I tried to do one from each movie. So lines, the honorable mention comes from Salvation. I just think this is probably the only good bit of dialogue is whenever Christian Bale is narrating his little broadcast. And I think the opening line, it always stuck out with me. This is John Connor, and if you are listening to this, you are the Resistance. I think that was perfect. It fit for the movie. So that's my honorable mention is Terminator Salvation, because the rest of that script fucking sucks. Anyway.
Like I said, that might be the only mention of Terminator Salvation in any of these lists as well.
Right. So from Dark
it didn't
Fate.
make any of mine, did it?
No.
Mine neither.
Nope. I'm spreading the love. Okay, so from Dark Fate, and I was having this conversation earlier. I really enjoyed how it's called Dark Fate, and there's things that allude to so much darkness in terms of fate, and how you can't necessarily escape it. But just Sarah Connor narrating in the beginning, once I saved 3 billion lives, but I couldn't save my son. A machine took him from me, and I am terminated. You never in a million years would think that Sarah Connor would say that. And in that logic, like her life is gone, and that is Dark Fate. And I just thought that was a really set the emotional tone for the movie.
That was
All right,
on my
ties
short
in
list.
really nicely with the bit later in the film where she's talking about how she's forgetting John's face as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
The
So-
no picture part. That's
Yeah.
part.
Suck it, Brian. Anyway.
Still hate the movie.
You can
All right,
hate
so
a
now-
film and still appreciate a couple of lines in it.
I mean, Salvation didn't make my list anywhere, and I still rank it above Dark Fate.
All right, so my number 4 comes from Terminator 3. And there's so many good lines in Terminator 3 that it was difficult.
Really is.
Talk to the hand, drop dead, cannot comply. He
Yeah.
was- oh, well, that sucks. There's just so many good lines for that movie. But mine comes when Catherine Brewster shoots Terminator in the face and spits it out and just goes, "Don't do that." To me, I was like, okay, that one has to win. So number 3 is to go along with that. I thought about "fuck you, asshole" from the first one. And mine, guys, I specifically did things that are not iconic to the series, because "I'll be back," "Come with me if you want to live," all iconic to this movie. Like, they are memorable. They will always be on some top 100 list when it comes to quotes. So for me, for Terminator, the original is just the moment that shows zero empathy from a Terminator. Like, it's the moment that we realize that he is a killing machine. It's when he's in the gun shop and the clerk goes, "You can't do that." Wrong. Boom.
Yeah.
So that was mine. Number
That
2
whole sequence again is fantastic as well. The way he's just going through and just getting all the weapons and stuff like that, and it's like you can see that there's like calculations going on of like, well,
where's your plasma cannon?
Yeah, I love that. And it's like, yeah, just what you see, buddy.
Oh, Mr. Ford.
Yep. Number 2 comes from Terminator 2. To me, it's a classic line. But he just shot the guard, and John Connor's freaking out, and Terminator goes, "He'll live."
I love that.
Perfect.
It's so good. It's so fucking good.
Yep. That's
Busy hours and Monday to Friday, like 9 a.m. to like Monday to Friday. You shot
He'll
me.
live.
It's so good with him just in the background going, "Ah, you son of a bitch, you shot me." And you've got John going, "Hey, what are you doing?"
He'll live. All right, my number one. Haven't said anything from Genesis. We all know that I love this line just because it is delivered so well and so believable.
This is your number one.
From the great J.K. Simmons. Goddamn traveling robots covering up the goddamn tracks. I knew it. This is from a movie that does not take itself too serious. Like, it is so campy with everything that they're trying to do in it. And I just thought that that was perfect. So to me, that was it. All right, my moments, honorable mentions. The "what is your mission" moment in Terminator 3. What is your mission? You are about to fail it. Just the acting was fantastic, especially with Arnold as he's trying to compute that. Really well done. Number 5 comes from Dark Fate, the Danny revelation that she is the new resistance leader, and seeing all that, and Sarah realizing that there is hope in this Dark Fate mentality. I just thought, just because that future is erased doesn't mean that there's going to be hope, and that hope is Danny. And I just thought that was perfect. Number 4 comes from Genesis. Joel already said it, but I worded these so they're funny. But this one is T-800s or the T-800 steps out. He steps out of the moving car. I just thought that was really cool. So there's that. Number 3, I have to give Salvations and Scars because I know Joel likes this whole thing about universes and the future actually happening. But in the first 2 Terminators from before Salvation, we see John Connor with these scars. So number 3 is from Salvation. You know how I got these scars? The Terminator, give him that 3 level, the 3 scratches on the eye, really brought the future to life, and I thought that was a good part of the movie. Number 2 is the thumbs up send off from Terminator 2. I thought that is iconic, and it's just kind of like a good closing. Like, we did it, it's over, it's all good, this is the way it had to be. I thought that was perfect. And my final moment, it is very hard for me to battle with Tech Noir because that is such a classic sequence, but I have to go with something else that no one else has talked about.
Oh, whoa.
And it is something that needs to be addressed because it honors the man himself. Without this man, there would be no Terminator, I think. But I am referring to Stan Winston and the eye surgery scene in the very first Terminator.
Yeah.
That sequence with the effects, that set the tone for the effects for the future movies. That scene is graphic, it is gross, it is realistic, it is believable, and that's what makes Terminator so good.
And it's genius design ideas as well, because that eye, I think it was like 5 by 5 feet or something. It was like, it was extremely blown up in like scale size, so they could get in really close and make it look a lot more sort of like believable. And it's a great sequence because it's really good editing wise as well, because you're editing between real Arnold miming all this stuff, then puppet Arnold, then real Arnold, and it's just like adding the depth of it. Like, you can look at it now and be like, oh well, it looks really stupid and dumb and janky, but it's like at the time it wasn't.
For the 80s, it was damn near perfect.
And it's also something we're just never going to see again, which is kind of too bad. That'd be a cartoon now. Like,
yeah, it'd be CGI.
Well, that's what I mean by cartoon.
Prosthetic, like, and special actual effects like that. I will always think practical effects always better than CGI.
Always.
Yeah, everyone agrees with you except for the people spending the money.
Right.
Everyone else in the world agrees except for the people with the money. They disagree.
Yeah, because they don't care.
No. I mean, no. Matt, you're up.
Oh,
you get to go first for ranking the movies.
So it was a hard rank.
You want to take that one again?
No, fuck it. Just leave it in. Why not? So I ended up with basically my rank ended up being in 3 sections, and it was basically the shit ones, the ones that were pretty good, I enjoyed them, and then the great ones. I think everyone's gonna have the same top 2, maybe not in the same order, but everyone's gonna have that same top 2, I think. So I'm gonna go from the bottom up. Number 6, Terminator Salvation. For me, there's nothing about that film that is really that good. Like even the score's not even good. Like it's so unmemorable. I couldn't even tell you anything. Like I couldn't even hum anything from the score. Very very unmemorable. The film itself was just bad. I did not enjoy it. Like it's not a Terminator film. It's take off the Terminator title and release it again and take out all the references to Terminator and make it something else. It's probably a more enjoyable film. I'm sorry, Brian. I just can't go. Fuck it. Thank you for this. I accept that. I can't do it.
Have you
Sorry.
rewatched it with that mentality yet?
Not yet, but
just give it a chance.
Okay.
Just have like whatever your normal amount of drinks are to get good and drunk. Have 2 extra and then watch it again.
I may end up needing a stomach pump. Number 5 is Dark Fate. It's not a great film. The opening sequence is a big fuck you to a lot of things, but there's some decent sequences in it. There's some pretty good photography in certain elements, like the bit of the part of the opening where you see the wave coming through and uncovering the skulls and it pulls up. That's a really cool kind of shot. And the score by Tom Holkenberg is actually pretty fucking good. Like, it's a really good, because we didn't really talk about the soundtracks and like Terminator 1, Terminator 2, they're going to be always going to be the best. But I think some of the composers that came in really, and when I say some of them, I mean 2. I mean Tom Holkenberg for Dark Fate and Lorne Balfe for Genesis came in and they put their own sort of spin on it, but also honored the originals really well. And yeah, really great. And then 4 and 3, again, these kept switching places all the time. And then I finally settled on Terminator 3 in 4th. It just got pipped out by Genesis because Genesis in 3rd place, obviously, because Genesis has got pops. And like there's just, for all the sort of like the really cool moments of Terminator 3 and like they lose at the end and all that sort of stuff, there's just, I have more fun. I enjoyed watching Genesis more than 3, so I kind of like, and yeah, there's more of an emotional I got more of an emotional response from Genesis than I did from 3. So into the top 2. And this is so fucking close this time. Like if I'd have ranked these before, I'd immediately easily have just gone, yeah, first one is the Terminator. It's my favorite one. Then second place, Terminator 2, like very easily. And I really struggled this time. It's still that order. It's still like Terminator 2 is still the number 2 and the Terminator is still number 1, but it's a lot closer this time, having gone back and rewatched Terminator 2 more critically and actually seen more of the nuance thing, because I think I always kind of took it like, with the Terminator, the limitations that they had, that they made this amazing thing, and Terminator 2, it's like they didn't really have the limitations, they just threw more money at it. And like, I have a lot more respect for the Terminator just because of what they managed to achieve on that respect, and the gritty nature of it. I like it a lot more, and it's got Michael Biehn in as well, and like I actually listened to a podcast that he was on talking about things, and he talked very sort of like openly and frank about how the main reason why he probably wasn't a big sort of star is because he never wanted to be a movie star. He just wanted to be an actor. So he didn't indulge in the bullshit that you have to do. He just did his job and got on with people and stuff like that. And that's why he was in a lot of James Cameron stuff, because they got on and he knew that he was a good actor. It's a shame. It's a shame that there is that sort of bullshit element of it that stopped him from being more successful, but it is what it is. But we have the Terminator, and we have aliens and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. That's my rank.
But I'm going to go through my movies really quick. This time I decided to include scores, which I've never done before. But I feel like that's really the only way to really kind of get across like how close all of these movies really are in my mind.
When you said scores, I thought you were like taking into consideration the music score.
Oh, no,
That is where I was sitting too. Yeah.
I was like, wait,
I was thinking Rotten Tomato score, because that's how I kind of looked at things too.
Yeah, like I made my own like ranking, like number out of 10 is what I gave it. Like
okay, that makes more sense.
Although when you were saying, you kept saying Tom Hulkenberg, I'm like, who the fuck? Oh, Junkie XL.
Yeah.
Like it took me. I was like,
that's his actual name, and
yeah.
I think he, depending on what film he scores, he's credited with his actual name in some of them. And
I feel like it's only with Zack Snyder he goes by Junkie XL anymore. But
yeah, maybe
he writes some incredible fucking music. One of the best composers we have out there right now. But anyhow, so here's my ranking, and I'm going to say this because I take a lot of shots at Dark Fate. I think I've even said I hated it twice on this episode already. I don't hate Dark Fate. I really, really hate the opening. For me, the opening ruins the rest of the movie. This probably would be more middle of the pack for me if it wasn't for the whole murdering John Connor in the beginning. I still think that could have been done well. It's not done well here, and it's done so poorly here that it ruins the majority of the experience for me. That would have been pretty good. That said, it still gets a 6 out of 10 in my book, so it's still a pretty decent movie. But that'd be number 6. At number 5, I have Salvation. That one got 6.5 out of 10, so not that much better, but just a hair better. And it's mostly because I really think the action sequences are very, very well done throughout the movie. The movie themselves might not be good, and you have to listen to fucking yelling a lot, which is annoying. But like them trying to get away from Christian Bale's encampment while they're shooting at them is an incredibly intense, very well shot, very well edited action sequence. And I don't think that's the only one in the movie. So that's what kind of got it there. Like, I think Dark Fate and Salvation would have been flipped if I thought the editing was better in Dark Fate. But I think the editing in Dark Fate feels like a Marvel movie, and I think Marvel movies have ruined editing for us. People who think Marvel movies are well edited are out of their goddamn minds. I don't blame the editors. I blame Marvel. But they are the
That's
most...
kind of like where I sat with Terminator 3 as well. It's very much of its time of the editing style and the sort of the hyper... Let's cut like loads of cuts, and like sometimes some of the actions you look at it, go, what the fuck is going on? I need give me a wide shot so I can tell what the geography of what's happening here, because and like I think Dark Fate has that as well.
Yeah, really,
it's more really, Marvel editing than the early 2000s.
Yeah, it really bumped me on this rewatch. It didn't the first time, but when I watched it this time, I was like, God damn it! Can we just stay on a shot more than 3 seconds? Yeah. Number 4, I have Genesis. I love Genesis. I never thought I'd say I love Genesis, but I really do like this movie. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. I think it's kind of dumb fun. And when it's not dumb fun, it's okay. It doesn't make the flip as well as my number 3 does, from dumb fun to not dumb fun, which is obviously Terminator 3. Genesis got 7 out of 10. So still a good movie. I still absolutely recommend it. I still think it's great. But 3 for me, the only reason it bumped out Genesis is because of that turn at the end. We've been having a fun, campy, fan service filled ride, and then, oh fuck, it's a war now. And it just comes out of left field. It just starts. And then the rest of the movie's kind of a well-made drama action film. And it's insane. So I love the hell out of it. My number 1 and 2, you can, everyone who's listened to the show knows where I'm ranking on this thing, but just still, so I can say it, number 2 is Terminator, The Terminator. I gave it a 9.9 out of 10. It's about as perfect as you can be while not being Terminator 2. And Terminator 2 gets 10 out of 10. But like, that's how close they are in my mind and have always been. It's 9.9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10. It's literally like a hair difference. But
I mean, I'm surprised that you didn't say like The Terminator is 10 out of 10 and Terminator 2 is 11 out of 10.
I'm gonna follow one rule I made for myself today, and that's ranking out of 10.
You
I
breaking
mean,
all
you
your
didn't
rules
follow
today.
any
Yeah.
other rules, so why bother?
Yeah, it's fair. But yeah, I love like the first 3 Terminator movies. I mean, I go 10 out of 10, 9.9 out of 10, and 8 out of 10. Like I love these fucking movies. They're
Yeah.
so much fun to watch. And yeah, that's it. But Terminator 2, and it's still my favorite movie of all time after this. Go figure.
All right, my turn.
Ryan's next, yeah.
Okay. So
So Ryan's put Terminator 2 at number 6.
And
No.
Dark Fate at number 1. No, I'm expecting this.
No. So in looking at the latter sequels, we'll call Salvation, Genesis, and Dark Fate the latter sequels, because 1 through 3 is going to get the top spot. But in looking at these latter sequels, I had some serious thoughts when it came to Salvation and Genesis. And in just looking at them overall, I finally reached the consensus that Salvation is the worst one. So Salvation is number 6. It sets out to do what it wants to do and make a gritty dystopian, war film, but they use the Terminator at the backdrop. I think that that's the best way to describe it. Is we'll just have a Terminator 3, but shoot like this dystopian future war, because the Terminators really aren't that. It's not a focus. Like, it's just, this is a military survival movie. And I think that's what threw me off. Now, in thinking about which 2 of these shitty movies gets the bottom rung, because the other shitty movie is Terminator Genesis. And I say that because this movie had so much potential and it shit the bed. You had Matt Smith, who is a good actor. You could have had him be a fortifying villain, like someone that's just formidable, and you put him as background music. You give it to John Connor. Oh God, name's slipping me.
Jason Clarke.
Clark, thank you. He does a great job. But the fact that the movie studios thought it would be a good idea to show him as the villain in the trailer, you dropped the ball.
That's not the movie's fault, though. I feel like you're judging the movie
but that's
harshly.
marketing, and marketing is part of the movie. Some people don't watch trailers. I do.
Yeah, that stuff informs. It's kind of like reading the Mario movie reviews, like terrible reviews, but then that sets the expectation that, like, okay, I can lower my standards and just try to enjoy what it is.
That's why we do that sort of thing. I'm sorry, but Genesis is a hot mess. There are a lot of good moments, but it is very problematic because it's trying to kickstart this trilogy that we don't get because of how awful the movie performs, because it is essentially a bad movie and we don't get those other movies. So I'm putting it, and that's why I'm calling it a shit movie, because it could have had the ability to give us a great trilogy, but it fell flat on its face. That's my reasoning. Number 4 is Dark Fate. Here's why. It is a movie that explores the darkness of fate, that you can't escape it. There is no fate that we make. That is the whole mantra of this show that we're doing and the mantra of the movies. But fate is fate, and it will rear its ugly head no matter what. And I enjoyed the exploring of that idea and that mentality. And there's a lot of good moments that play into that idea of fate, whether it's dark or light. And I just really appreciated that. Is the movie perfect? Absolutely not. Is it better than Genesis and Salvation? That's my opinion. Notice how I said
I know
that.
they said there's no such thing as a wrong opinion, but that's a bad opinion, should we say.
I think he defended it well. I vehemently disagree with him, but I get where he's coming from.
He defended it well, but it's still a bad opinion.
Well, again, that's your opinion.
No, my opinion of your opinion is that your opinion is a bad opinion. Yes,
right. See,
stop saying opinion.
Here's the thing that Fate has really got going for you. You got a great, you've got cast that comes back, but you underutilize Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what makes it bad. You've got a great villain who's actually like smart too. Like my whole body's a weapon. Great, there's some great moments in this movie. Sarah Connor coming back and the emotion that she goes through and everything. I think she's the star moreover than Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I think she gets top billing too.
She should do.
for that right there, like just the emotional things that we're seeing through her, especially with the line comment I made about how she is terminated, but she's realizing that her fate was dark, but there's still hope. You know, the future war is still going to happen, and that's why we get Rev 9s and not Terminators. Fate still happen, but there's still hope, and I appreciate that message that this movie's trying to do. Whereas Genesis was just trying to remake a timeline and did it really shoddily in different things that they did. So that's why. Number 3, steady ground. Number 3 is Rise. I think it's very well done. There's some great lines in it, some great action sequence, things like that. 2 and 1 is very difficult for me to do like everybody else, but 2 is going to go to the original Terminator. Number 1 is Judgment Day. I just think with the bigger production value that we saw, you're allowing James Cameron to go out and spend, do what he does best, which is tell a story. So that's my ranking. I told you guys I was going to catch flack for Dark Fate, but I think
you redeemed yourself by putting T2 at number 1. I thought I was going to be alone in that. Woo!
No, you're welcome. That was, I think it just shows that when you let our tours, either way, like James Cameron, if you give him the money, he will deliver. And Terminator 2 is a great example. Avatar 2 is a great example. Give the guy money and he will make a spectacle that is entertaining.
He's a very good example of, you're not always just, to use a phrase Matt uses a lot, throwing money at it. He uses his money. He doesn't just throw it at the screen and hope for the best. Like, he knows how to use that money.
It's one of those things like, I'm not going to say that in Terminator 2, you can see every dollar on the screen because, Arnold's like salary for Terminator 2 was like 3 times the budget of the first film or something. I think his palatial motorhome he had for Terminator 2 cost the same amount as the budget of the first film or something. I read somewhere. But it's that kind of thing of like, yes, it's a $100 million film or whatever, but you can see where they spent the money. It wasn't just like, you look at like, okay, I keep ragging on Marvel films, but they're a good example. You keep looking at these Marvel films where it's like, oh, it's a $300 million film, and you look at it and go, why did this cost $300 million? Like, I can see maybe 200 million. Where's the other 100? And I know, like, we're talking in like, it's still a huge amount of money, but it's like you look at it and go, where is that money? Like, and that's the thing with Cameron.
You don't have that feeling.
Yeah, especially like you look at True Lies as well, which like I think that was $100 million film as well or something.
Crazy expensive at the time, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the most expensive film ever made, but you see it on the screen because the spectacle that's there and the sort of like the big bombastic thing, like the Harrier sequence and all that stuff. It's like you can see where they've spent the money and like, they've used it well. They've used the thing. They created something.
I'm doing the thing.
Yeah, I'll shut up.
Yeah, your opinion doesn't matter, Matt. Joel.
Matt.
Matt.
Don't you have the power to like mute me or something? Because like you can just turn off my mic.
Hey, it's Zoom. Anything goes.
Oh yeah, here we go. Does this work? There we go.
Time is expired.
Yeah. All right, Joel.
Okay. I am encouraged by how much you all know that Salvation's dog shit. I like really, really happy to hear that after we've gone through this. It is Black Hawk Down with robots.
Yes.
It's and in some alternate timeline it could have worked, but they have nothing about the future war that you want to see in it. Maybe at the end when they're in the manufacturing facility and stuff. Maybe, but that's a stretch too. Like,
well, it's when you said the Black Hawk Down with robots, it's even got that bleached look. Fuck off, Brian. I'm making a good point.
But that movie has nothing that makes a good Terminator movie in my eyes. Like they don't know what to do with Sam Worthington's character and situation, which is an interesting idea and concept. But they botch every part of the way. Christian Bale doesn't look like he wants to be there at all, which I think we all know that now. And it just
so good for you.
But I won't I won't linger on that because I've said my piece a few times. Number 5 is Dark Fate. For a lot of the reasons that everybody's already said, I think it dabbles in some very interesting ideas, has some really good moments. Too much was packed into that. They were 2 or 3 separate movies that had interesting ideas that could have been played off well, and it just turns into a jumbled mess. There's a better movie that I wish we got.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Genesis. And I think Genesis is another fun idea, not perfectly executed, but more cohesive of a movie.
Number 4. Sorry.
I wrote 5 I wrote 5 next to it because it was the 5th movie in the series.
I was like, wait a minute. Did Joel put like Salvation so far down that it didn't even
Salvation is 10? And there's no movies. Whatever they make between now and whenever the end of time,
They're
those
gonna be
go
better.
in between.
It could just be a shot of Arnold standing there the whole time. Still better than Salvation.
Matt mentioned the segmenting off of his different parts of his list, and like Salvation is below the jail cell level, and then Dark Fate and Genesis are like, there are good ideas in there that just weren't executed very well. And Genesis is where like I would rewatch that maybe with the right group of people. Dark Fate, I'd have to be sat down and told I need to watch this movie. And then Salvation's waterboarding.
Hey, what are you doing next Thursday?
Not
being waterboarded from the sound of it.
Dark Fate. Number 3 has to be Rise of the Machines. And here's where we get to the part where I would enjoy watching all these movies. I would take time out of my evening to watch it again. And 3 is as close to the first movies you can get, especially when you consider the time gap between making movies and the fact that they still nailed that. The performances are great. It has that really strong ending that you don't expect any movie to really jump into. And I think it was a lot better than I even remember it being. Number 2 has to be number 2, and number 1 has to be number 1 for me. I have more appreciation for number 2 than I did before, because I just saw it as a fun action movie, but rewatching it, you remember a lot of those lines, a lot of the ideas between the mother and son relationship and how warped that is, and the fact that a preteen kid is building a father-son bond with a robot. And then couple that with just spectacular action scenes. And I think that it's indisputable that has to be at least one of the 2. And then number 1's 1 because it informs, it happened at a time when I watched it where I was very influenced by just how dark and heavy it was and how oppressive the T-800 is in there, and the sense of danger throughout it all and desperation. And I think tonally they killed it. I do want to mention one thing real quick, how Arnold Schwarzenegger does a good job in pretty much every one of these movies. And I think that they always dabble in that side of like robot humanity, and T2 does a great like infancy learning. The Terminator Genesis does the great like father-daughter, almost guardian kind of relationship. And then Dark Fate even dabbles a little bit in like the kind of familial bonding. But the way they keep on hitting those themes, I think even when it's flawed, it works really well.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning Arnold because I mean we sung his praises all 6 episodes of this show, or now 7 because of the wrap up. But there is something that like you almost feel like, even though people know Arnold from the Terminator, like that's like usually the number one thing people know him from. Like there's Conan, there's Mr. Universe, there's just Arnold the persona. But when you think about like his film career, like Terminator is his baby. And from the beginning of Terminator, people have always gone like, oh yeah, he's great in that. But they say it in that sort of like almost dismissive way of like, like the Marvel movies, we're going to keep hitting on those. Those are great. Like they're fun. Like they're whatever. And you kind of get that same sort of feeling that when people talk about Arnold in the Terminator movies. And I feel like that really does a discredit to him, because it's not like, oh, he's great in them, they're fun. He delivered like career defining work throughout this series. Like every movie he plays a different version of the same character and does it exceedingly well. So like I think like this to me is like watching like First Blood with Stallone, or like Rocky with Stallone, of like, yeah, he's this big lug muscle dude. The dude can fucking act. Like you
Yeah.
look at the right parts. He is a talented man. Like same thing for Stallone. This is Schwarzenegger's version of that. He is unbelievably talented. If you go from Terminator 1, 2, 3, just those three, same character each time, wildly different though. And he does it just so ever subtly that you know each one's different. Like Arnold, solid actor.
I mean,
And
I
he-
remember having conversations with people saying, like, like multiple people of my life when we're talking about Schwarzenegger as an actor and the same. Yeah, but he was good in Terminator. But how difficult is it to be a robot? And it's like, well, actually, it's difficult. Like, especially when you see Arnold as Arnold in interviews, and his big exuberant personality, the way that it's scaled back and everything's very subtle. It is actually quite difficult. Like you look at RoboCop as well, like another sort of machine. How difficult is it to be a machine? Well, it's like, Peter Weller had a mime guy. They created a way of moving. Like being a robot is not just about like talking like hello, I am a robot. It's like it's what kind of robot you do, and like like you said, he defined a character.
Yeah,
he defined this series with the performance. And I do want to quickly add in before I let Joel speak. I think it was the Genesis episode I mentioned about like I would like Arnold and Emilia Clarke to like do a Predator film or something like that. I was like it was the first Arnold Schwarzenegger film that popped into my head. A better one would be Commando 2, and she can play his daughter.
I'd watch it
now. Yeah, now I will. Joel, you are.
Thank you. I think Arnold really benefited from the structure of these films and the themes. And you can tell that he bought into them, even when the movie didn't deserve it. And he elevated it because of it. If we want to keep doing the Marvel comparison, I think to like Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. Yeah. Fascinating character. They play a lot with these wild ideas, but he is still Doctor Strange they give him an archetype of a character, and he can never hew beyond that or grow beyond that. And it's in line with the movie structures too, where it's like these huge life-altering events, but then we don't mention it again. And the stakes haven't really raised or become more serious. Like the snap is the only thing they've done with that, but that was just more of a turning page into the same Marvel sensibility where the stakes are high but meaningless, and then there's a lot of humor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Marvel thing's quite an interesting one as well, because it's like, we talk about 9/11 20 years later, like people still will discuss that, talk about it, and so on. There's the equivalent of 9/11's happening every Marvel film. So like what, 2-3 times a year or something, and no one ever talks about them again.
I mean, that's comics for you. I can give a little bit of rope there, but at the same time, like you're not wrong.
But they do, like, this is the thing with the Marvel films, though. It's like,
no, we can't turn this into a Marvel podcast. We've been avoiding doing the MCU forever.
Okay, I was just gonna say though, like the Marvel films, they are comic book films, but they try to act like, oh no, we're really grounded in reality.
Well,
like,
they did that with Civil War, and then not Civil War, Winter Soldier, and then everyone since then they've been just trying. They did pull it off once.
That was my point, though. They say that they're grounded, realistic things and stuff like that. They're not comic booky.
You had a purple thumb come from space to wipe out half of existence. They're comic booky.
Yeah, I know they are.
All right, so if this is the end of Terminator, that means that we need to start talking about the next show. And the problem is with the next show is that for the first time ever, I haven't been able to come up with a title for it. So I've come up with 4, and we're going to decide what one between those 4 today. The next show will be all about the Fast and Furious franchise. We're not gonna be able to finish it because Fast X is coming out this summer, and we'll be able to watch that as part of this. But Fast 11, we'll have to, we're gonna leave you hanging. We'll come back to it if we want to. Every show we've threatened to do that for, we haven't done that yet, so we'll see. But anyhow, these are our 4 titles that we're gonna decide on for you right now. We have Dominic Toretto's Flat Tire. We have Fast but Not Furious, Not Even Mad. We have Toretto's Shitty Tuna Sandwich, which is the reference to the first movie. And then we have the very safe answer, the Toretto Garage. Any of those jump out at everybody here?
Can you repeat it one more time?
All right, we have Dominic Toretto's Flat Tire. We have Fast but Not Furious, Not Even Mad. We have Toretto's Shitty Tuna Sandwich. And we have the Toretto Garage. I feel like tuna sandwich is gonna win because that's the one that's gotten a smile every time.
But can I make?
I like the second one.
Can I make an amendment to the last one?
Sure.
Toretto's Family Garage.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Toretto's Family Garage.
I kind of feel like we're down to the second and third one.
So we're between Fast But Not Furious, Not Even Mad, and the Toretto Garage, or Toretto's Shitty Tuna Sandwich and the Toretto Family Garage.
I was thinking shitty tuna sandwich and not even angry.
I like the shitty tuna sandwich because that's how the whole thing started.
It's true.
We could do like, Dominic Toretto's Shitty Tuna Sandwich Family.
Well, family's gonna
At
come
the
up a
family
lot.
diner.
Yeah. All right, so we're going with Toretto's Shitty Tuna Sandwich.
At the family diner.
Well, we'll throw that in when we feel like it, but we got to be nice to John. He's got to deal with a lot of SEO stuff, so we're gonna keep our title a little bit shorter. But Toretto's Shitty Tuna Sandwich at the family diner, sure. All right, but I'm really looking forward to doing the Fast and Furious. I don't think we have a lot of fans of that franchise on this show beyond myself. Do we have other fans here? I know Matt's been avoiding the franchise like the plague.
I have. I see the first one.
Yeah.
That's it.
five through now. I mean, those movies build fantastically.
They
I
really
love
do.
They really, but like 1 through 4, man, it is a train wreck. It is like watching gasoline being slowly put on someone who wants to be put out that's on fire.
I like the first one. The second one is rough movie, and then the
Three's
third one's okay. It has some cool ideas. The
Four is
fourth one is like, okay, we're figuring shit out, and then from 5 on, they figured it out, and it's a lot of fun. But I'm excited for these, especially week 2. Too Fast, Too Furious is a hell of a fucking movie, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch it.
So should we like preface this now with we are not doing the Fast and Furious. What was it called?
Yeah, we're not doing Hobbs and Shaw.
The Hobbs and Shaw one.
Similar to how we didn't do the Sarah Connor Chronicles, we're not doing Hobbs and Shaw. I know Hobbs and Shaw would be a lot easier to do, and maybe I'll watch it before the wrap up just to see if I liked it, because I still don't really care about that movie. Because I know this is a tough thing to say, especially when I'm about to start a Fast and Furious podcast. I'm not the biggest fan of The Rock. He kind of drives me nuts.
Same.
He's good in these movies, and he's very fun in these movies. So I'm looking forward to that part of it. But just watching his movie, it was tough to get me involved. So I still have not seen Hobbs and Shaw, but I've seen the rest, and I love the rest for what they are. So it's gonna be a really fun show. I am excited to talk about it with everyone. They are the dumbest movies that for some reason keep making billions of dollars.
Because they're so entertaining.
They really are. It's like a soap opera with cars. It's just so dumb fun. And I'm honestly, as excited as I am to talk about with everyone, I'm the most excited for Matt to watch these because he's avoided them so much, and I legitimately think he's going to enjoy the hell out of them.
It's gonna be fun.
I think he's gonna hate 1, 2, and 3 and think I'm wrong, and then by about 4, he's gonna be like, "Fuck, Brian was right," and then he's gonna watch 5 and go, "Damn it, that was a good movie! Holy shit!"
5 is so good.
5 is.
Or is my British stubbornness going to be going, nope, fuck you, don't like it, nope.
I'm taking this episode out.
He's gonna be sitting on a couch with Charlotte and going like, "Brian was right. It's a good movie." I'm never gonna tell him. I'm gonna say these are shit, but he was right. These are good movies, and I'm gonna know. Damn it, I'm gonna know.
But he'll be grinning from ear to ear while he's talking trash.
The best part about this though is that we're gonna sit here. And Brian's actually gonna have to utilize the Zoom mute because he'll just have so much to say about it.
When he gets into so Justin Lin used real cars and they actually went out and shot this shit, and that's insane. How did they actually film this? This is the amount of filmmaking involved here, and then he's gonna go on about the score and the editing, and like fucking
it's still a dog shit movie.
But seriously, they're great. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a really fun time, and I look forward to it. And we're already talking about what's coming after next. We haven't decided yet, but there's tons of binge buddies coming up, so I'm excited.
We are buddies, and we are binging a lot.
That's true. We always forego plugs, but be sure to listen to all of our other shows. As much as we've been talking for almost 2 hours. We're not going to bog you down with plugs. There's good shows out there. We're on all of them. Go check them out.
We are every show that we are on is good. Anything that we're not on is shit.
Yeah, or
that's what Brian said.
If it's good, we're secretly on it. Somehow involved.
Turn down the main noise and then turn up the static, and then that's us.
Yep, that's us.
You see that show that you're watching on Apple TV that you're really enjoying, I'm in the background just waving. You can't see me, but I'm just there.
There was actually a really popular Disney Channel show that I snuck a poster into. So I'm in the background of one Disney Channel show just as a poster. It's a lot of fun. If I can remember which one it is, I'll let people know.
Pretending to be a poster, or are you on a poster?
I'm on a poster. Me and Ryan James from our show and John, I think, we're all on like it's an After the Hype poster in the background of someone's show.
Nice. Oh, that's pretty cool.
It pays to have people in the industry. Thank you so much.
Viral marketing there.
Yeah. Thank you everyone so much for listening to our Terminator show. This has been so much fun. I fucking love the Terminator, and doing each one of these has been a blast. I hope all of you have had fun doing it. Hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
And we'll get back to doing horror movies at some point. I really do love doing horror movie franchises, but we needed a break from watching teenagers get murdered. So now we're going to watch a shitload of cars get murdered, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you next week when we start talking Fast and Furious at Toretto's shitty tuna sandwich from the Family Diner. I'm going to forget the tail.
Just say family style.
Just say family style.
Toretto's shitty tuna sandwich family style. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah. It'd be a big tuna sandwich. And it never comes back except for the first movie. There's no more tuna sandwiches, but I like that we're going to keep it as a theme.
We're all going to be looking for tuna sandwiches in everyone's. I saw one in the background. Someone was eating a shitty tuna sandwich.
Fish. Does that count?
There's way more Coronas than there are tunas. I just didn't have to do. I don't want to deal with like having to ask.
No, what if we call it
permission.
Toretto's bottomless Coronas?
I didn't want to deal with asking Corona for permission, so we're going with tuna sandwich.
I just want to see John's album art that he makes for this.
Oh, he doesn't know the title because we just came up with it, so he doesn't have a lot of time to make it. Let's see what he does. All right,
I'm getting a very interesting mental image involving a tuna and shit and a sandwich.
I'm hoping it's like a tuna and a car in a sandwich.
A fish driving a car.
Perfect.
The sandwich is 2 cars.
That'd be great.
Wienermobile, get ready for the tuna mobile.
All right, thank you everyone so much for listening. This has been a blast. Bye.
We'll be back.
Hey everybody, Brian here. Just want to take one more quick second to say goodbye and thank you. This show meant the world to me, and I just had so much fun doing it. The show could not have happened without Matt Dykes, Joel DeWitte, Ryan Lootens, John Hardesty, Brock Holiday. All these guys helped out with either the art or keeping us sane online or just being an actual co-host. Just absolutely amazing people, and they make my life so much better. So thank you all for listening. I know we did say at the end of the episode that we'll be back next week. That's totally not true. I wasn't looking at the calendar. That was up to me. We'll be back the same week that Fast X comes out, which I believe is in about 2 weeks. Maybe 3, but we'll be back soon, just not next week. All right. Bye again. Bye.